The Houston Rockets on paper have one of the most exciting young cores in the NBA. Jalen Green, an insanely explosive, lightning-fast point guard who can give you 20 on any given night. Kevin Porter Jr., a talented combo guard with bounce, shot creation, and handles for days, who's developing the ability to facilitate. And finally, Alperen Sengun, the most underrated pick in the 2021 NBA draft and someone who garners Hall of Fame potential in his footwork, back to the basket game, and ability to stretch and facilitate on the floor. There's much more to this young core, paired with the future pick that they have in the 2024 NBA draft, where they're currently tied with the Spurs and Pistons for the best odds at the #1 pick. Today, April 24th of 2023, the Houston Rockets made a major move, signing Emeka Udoka as their new head coach going forward from the Boston Celtics. Not to mention, there is the possibility of a James Harden reunion the following season. And all of this begs the question, are the 2024 Houston Rockets a playoff team? We're going to get into all that in today's video, guys, and there is timestamps so you're able to follow along as we break it down into the verdict for the end of this video. Please be sure to stick to the end of this video so you can hear the answer to the question that we're all wondering, and also be sure to leave your opinion in the comments below because I'm always curious what you guys think of these videos and the verdicts of these videos. I want to know what you guys believe. Without further ado, let's get straight into this, talking about the young core the Rockets possess and what it means to add Emeka Udoka into the mix. What excites me going forward the most is seeing Alperen Sengun unleashed into a new rotation, a new set of rotations under new head coach Emeka Udoka. While I am not the biggest Rockets fan or watcher, I did watch a decent amount of games this last season just because I do like watching Alperen Sengun's game, and I liked keeping up the rotations to see if he was getting the minutes I wanted to see him get this season. And a lot of people, myself included, were pretty critical of Stephen Silas's rotations, including the lack of playing time for Sengun. He averaged just under 29 minutes a night, and in those minutes he averaged 15 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists on the following shooting splits. If he were to play around 34 to 35 minutes a night like Jalen and Kevin do, I could really see the overall production of this team rising. Not only is he a monster down low, but his ability to defend opposing bigs and facilitate for his teammates is almost unmatched at his age for a center. Not to mention the synergy and chemistry between him and Jalen Green are absolutely tremendous. Teammates drafted in the same team in the same draft class, building together and getting better each and every single day. You really couldn't ask for anything more. As for the backcourt, Emeka Udoka had the likes of coaching Jason and Jalen in Boston and knows how to get the best out of their guards and wings in all manners and aspects of the game too, not just the scoring part of the game. I don't think if they could have made that NBA Finals run without Jalen and Jason being as unselfish and tangible as they were on defense. They were always willing to guard the best guy. They were always willing to switch and be communicating. That's what I'm really excited for this young team, to get a mind like Emeka Udoka in the mix and kind of show them the ropes of that. Because Jalen and Kevin have proven to be quite the backcourt together on the scoring end of things and are both insanely dominant. They are very high volume and sometimes they're not very efficient, but like I said, Emeka Udoka may be able to help that. I wasn't sure how this core was going to work out going into the season, but Kevin's assist numbers and overall feel for the game have really blown me away. As the second option, he's averaging nearly 20 points and 6 assists a night. And as for Jalen, his efficiency, like I said, could use some work. Could still use some work, but he's proven that at any given night, almost in an Anthony Edwards type of fashion, he can electrically pop off and take over a game's offensive scoring load. This last season, he boasted averages of 22 points and then just under 4 rebounds and 4 assists. One thing I always forget about Jalen, just from a prospect standpoint and just a potential standpoint, is how tall and lengthy he actually is. Coming in at a pretty towering 6'6" for a guard with a standing reach of 8 feet and 5 inches, you'd hope that one day he'll develop into a much better pesky on-ball defender, because the main source of defense right now comes from their front court, where outside of Alperen Sengun, we are seeing a lot of Kevin Martin Jr. and Jabari Smith. Each of them have looked really solid so so far as high-flying bigs. Obviously, with Kenyon Martin, he's usually played at that 3 because he is a little bit undersized to be a 4, but he still grabs his fair share of rebounds. He's averaging just around 5 a game. Looking back on him for a second rounder, he was actually a real steal. Some nights, Jabari Smith looks like he'll develop into an offensive stud, and other nights he kind of just reminds me of a John Collins type of player. Again, I haven't gotten to see many Rockets game where I'm solely paying attention on those two guys in the front court, but I digress. At coming in with 13 points and 7 rebounds, you can't really ask for much more from someone who's not getting plays drawn up for him or anything like that. Kenyon and Jabari have both been really solid this season. Looking into the future, like I mentioned previously, they have a chance to have the #1 overall pick, which for the Houston Rockets would probably be Victor Wembanyama, as they do not need a guard like Scoot Henderson, even though I do think he looks absolutely massive and looks like a tremendously talented prospect. The Rockets have made it pretty clear that they would not do that, and like I said, the Rockets have a really loyal and supportive fan base, and they also garner a ton of support from their front office, which makes me wonder if James Harden would return to this team next season. If he declines that player option he has with the Philadelphia 76ers, the Rockets have made it very known that they are going to offer him a contract. These rumors started back in late February and have been kind of buzzing here and there ever since in the following months. According to Woj, they're pretty much basing this, or James Harden is pretty much basing this solely on the success of the Philadelphia 76ers in this postseason. If James Harden were to return, this team would be very scary. Not finals, give you a run for your money scary, but definitely in the 50 win range. And I just base that based on previous success. James has done a lot more with a lot less. Obviously, James is a completely different player now, but I don't really know where he fits in with this, group without stunting the growth of maybe Kevin Porter Jr. or Jalen Green, especially if they do draft Victor Wembanyama. That's a conversation that you maybe have to have with Kevin about him being the 6th man next season, if he's comfortable with that, or you possibly move him to the 3 and have Victor playing the 4. And then the starting lineup is Jalen, James, Kevin, Victor, and Alperen Sengun, which on paper is an absolutely amazing team, especially with Kenyon Martin and Jabari Smith and some other notable names off the bench. Now, to answer my question, will the Rockets make the playoffs? I'm going to say yes. Playoffs or play in for sure. I just don't see a team with this much talent, coached by Emeka Udoka, not being at least the 10 seed. Like I said, the play-in at the very least. They have a ton of guard play. They have a lot of front court versatility, and depending on what happens with the draft and free agency, their depth is going to get a lot better. As for right now, that's really the main thing that concerns me with this team is their second unit. But when you have a young team like this, most nights you're not going too deep into the bench if your young guys can handle those heavy minutes. But what do you guys think? Are the Rockets going to make or miss the playoffs next season? Let me know the answer to that question in the comments below. If you made it this far, I appreciate your support as always. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay happy, healthy, and blessed. Peace.